Greetings and welcome back to my podcast, Why So Political? I'm your host, Neha Yadavalli, a high schooler from the United States. Regardless of your views, I hope you enjoy this episode of Why So Political. Before I begin this episode, I would like to make the audience aware of an informative project I, along with some of my friends from school, have completed. I, along with 3 other individuals whom I will not be disclosing, have completed a website all about the challenges and struggles women have been and are subjugated to in society, such as threats towards women's healthcare, the wage gap, global issues involving women, and violence towards women. The website is called Better Worlds for Women, and I will make sure to link it in the episode's description. I, along with my peers, would so greatly appreciate if you were to check it out. Thank you. Daylight saving time was first adopted in Germany on May 1st of 1916. The reason why this measure was adopted was to conserve fuel during World War I. The rest of Europe promptly followed Germany. Now, I'm aware that the bulk of my audience currently lives in the United States. The United States didn't adopt daylight saving time until March 19, 1918. Coincidentally, this was on my birthday. However, many people felt that this measure was anything but a good gift. Daylight saving proved to be extremely unpopular, so it was abolished after the First World War. Now, I'm well aware that people may ask, well, why do we still practice it today if it was abolished after the war? And to that, I would respond, well, you have Franklin Roosevelt to thank for that. From February 9th to 1942, I meant from February 9th, 1942 to September 30th, 1945, he instituted a year-long daylight saving time measure. This later set the precedent for the 1966 Uniform Time Act. This act mandated standard time across the country within established time zones. Under this, clocks would advance 1 hour at a time on the last Sunday in April and turn back 1 hour at 2 a.m. on the last Sunday in October. The practice of daylight saving time has evolved over the years, and now starts at 2 a.m. the second Sunday of March and ends at 2 a.m. the first Sunday of November. All states in the U.S. observe this act. However, Arizona and Hawaii do not. For many people, daylight saving practices and the whole resetting of the clock situation is frustrating. Hence, the act is pretty unpopular for quite a few. According to a survey done by Princeton, 55% of Americans said they are not disrupted by the time change, 28% reported a minor disruption, and 13% said the change is a major disruption. 40% of Americans would prefer to stay in standard time all year, and 31% would prefer to stay in daylight saving time all year, eliminating the time change. 28% of Americans would keep the time change twice a year. So, it seems as if the debate on whether or not we should preserve the daylight saving time practices is pretty divided across the nation. There are many arguments on both sides on why we should or should not preserve these practices. On the affirmative side, if you will, many argue that daylight saving time is better for the general public's overall safety. Economists Jennifer Doleac and Nicholas Sanders found that robberies drop about 7% overall and 27% in the evening hours after the spring time change. They stated, and I quote, Most street crime occurs in the evening around common commuting hours of 5 to 8 p.m., and more ambient light during typical high crime hours makes it easier for victims and passersby to see potential threats and later identify wrongdoers. Clearly, the increase in daylight seems to have a pretty significant impact on safety levels and crime rate overall. Furthermore, the increase in daylight has proven to be beneficial for the economy. Take the golf industry, for example. According to the National Geographic, the golf industry reported that 1 month of daylight saving time was worth $200 to $400 million because of the extended evening hours golfers can play. The barbecue industry has also seen some benefits from daylight saving time. They estimated their profits increased $150 million for 1 month of daylight saving time. In 2007, an estimated $59 million was saved because fewer robberies were committed thanks to the sun being up later. While these may all seem like good reasons to preserve daylight saving time, there are many arguments negating the need for these practices. These arguments seemingly surround the general public's overall health and productivity levels. According to The Atlantic and the National Geographic, changing sleep patterns has a seemingly negative impact towards one's health. One study found that the risk of a heart attack increases 10% the Monday and Tuesday following the springtime change. According to the New York Daily News, researchers found an increase in cluster headaches, sudden and debilitating headaches after the fall time change. Now, at first glance, these changes may not seem too detrimental. However, the impacts of these changes have proven to be disastrous. According to Michael Burke's 2008 article, The Effect of Daylight Saving, quote, in the weeks following the spring daylight saving time change, male suicide rates rose in Australia compared to the weeks following the return to standard time in the fall. Furthermore, car accidents increased the day after daylight saving time. This all could be tied in with the fact that the day after the changing clocks, the whole nation, if not the whole world, seems to be sleepier than usual. Whatever the cause may be, it truly does seem as if daylight saving time has some considerable and pretty horrific drawbacks. So, what's the final verdict for me? I personally believe that daylight saving time should be abolished. What I mean is, the United States should refrain from practicing it. While I am fully aware of the economic benefits of this practice, I truly believe that the increased loss of life is more than enough to outweigh the positives of keeping daylight saving time. But what do you think? That concludes this episode of Why So Political. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening to my take. I truly appreciate your time. If you like what you heard, I highly encourage you to come back next week. A new episode drops every Monday at 8. Moreover, I would highly encourage you to check out the website me and my peers made, Better World for Women. It will be linked in the description. Thank you so much and have a good one.